Hey, what's up turtles? Krik here with Black Owl Outdoors. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the LT Wright Patriot fixed blade knife. This is an EDC fixed blade knife, meaning to be used for everyday type tasks, and because it's meant to be carried all day, every day, in that vein of always having the knife on you, it's small and thin, but that's okay. That's what it's designed for, and it's just a cool all-around knife. In addition to the knife, you also get a leather sheath, a belt sheath, which I will show. But some of the specs of this knife include overall length 5 5/8 inches, blade length 2.5 inches, a flat grind, D2 steel, a very nice sharpened spine. The scales down here, there's 2 pins, and this is actually dyed bone. And I've seen different pictures of different knives, different Patriots on websites, and there's variability within the bone, which is really cool because the one you get might not be the same and probably isn't the same as the next person who purchased one. So just really cool. You can see the little bit of a swell, just the shape of the handle, if you will, this little stopper almost here for your finger and a nice little groove right here where my thumb's moving along to be able to pinch right here. And this is almost a 3-finger knife. I can get my 4th finger there. Not completely comfortable depending the chore I want to be doing with it, but nonetheless it is possible. This is a really nice grip too. 3-finger, pinky hanging off, 4-finger buried in there if I really want to. And because it is thin, 1/8 inch thick, a little bit thinner than 1/8 of an inch. By my calculations, but nonetheless right around 1/8 of an inch thick. And because it is thin, you see how thin the scales are in relation to the 1/8 inch thick D2 steel. It's really nimble and really light and balanced in the hand. You could use this for a skinning game in the field, small things such as rabbits or squirrel. Just have a lot of control with the knife because it is small. Comes very nice and sharp. I really like to see that on knives. Now I want to show you the actual sheath that comes with the knife. So here's the sheath. From about here, my finger's pointing to here, is about 5.5 inches. So maybe 6 total from where the belt loop is rolling over on itself. This is the same company that's making the other leather sheaths for LT Wright. Here's their little stamp maker's mark. Riveted here for the belt loop, rivet up top here. You can actually see I'm trying to show that this is machine stitched. There's a little bit of indentation probably where the foot's rolling along right here on the underside of the stitching. On the top it's not visible. But that just goes in line with how expensive a handmade leather sheath will be and how much it would drastically increase the price of this knife. So nothing fancy about this sheath. There is a welt. It's burnished, it's smooth right along here. Nothing fancy, but nonetheless highly and completely functional. And the knife sitting in it, just for reference, to see how much the handle's sticking out. Decent retention, difficult knife to put in a leather sheath. But now let's start doing some chores and start using this knife and talk a little bit more about it. Just to show you some of the sharpness of the edge. There's some wave in there, you can see not really tearing at all. So it comes sharp. Paper's a little damp, have my notebook on the ground. Nonetheless, you see, comes nice and sharp. Hi-yata. Oops, hi-yata. In addition to that, some other chores you're going to be doing. We saw the edge now. You're cutting some cord. Got some paracord here, let me undo this. Push straight through it, not going to slice, just try to push. Not too bad. Do another little hunk. Pretty easy. No slice. I'll try to slice if it makes a difference. Yeah, much easier. But the test for sharpness of a knife and the cutting, all that, is how well does it do if you're pushing straight, not doing the slicing motion. Going straight. Not bad, not bad at all. Obviously it's a sharp knife, it should cut cord 550 paracord. Let's go down the ground now and look at some other tasks the knife can do. Because this has a sharpened spine, like I previously mentioned, and it is very sharp as the degrees of sharpness go on spines that I've seen on knives, you can process tinder, which I'm doing right now. This is a piece of tulip poplar, Liriodendron species. Oh. And I'm just getting a little bit of this really fine bark. You can see I'm working. I'm going to use that then to strike with a ferro rod once I get a nice little bit of it. This is really light and fluffy tinder. I'm going to get some more of this, but you can see the way this spine is performing on this knife. Right now I have all of my fingers sort of wrapped around. I have the knife buried in there. 4 of them. Get some power cuts. Just shaping the end of this. Same piece of tulip poplar. Maybe if I wanted to make a steak or if I am out in the woods. Just showing that it's not completely uncomfortable to even do some strong sort of cutting on wood. I definitely wouldn't want to hold this for more than, oh, I don't know, 3 minutes doing something like this. But nonetheless, it's functional and more than capable. So you get the idea. Now let's try some feather sticking with it. Clear myself a little bit of room to work with this. Give myself a nice little flat spot. In theory. Really nice thin curls. Got a low spot. Not the grandest attempt, but with a little bit of practice, definitely get some nice feather sticking out of this. All right, now we're going to hit this with a ferro rod to show the sharpened spine in action and light up a little bit what we did. Clearing just a tiny little space. I'm going to put this right out as soon as it catches. I'm not starting a fire with it, but It's always a good idea to try to get down to mineral soil if you can. It's really, really, really wet down in these valley bottoms where we are. There's springs all along the valley side, the hillside that roll down here. This stays very moist year round. Can work against you. I don't have a platform. This shouldn't get too wet before I even hit it with the spark. I'm gonna do it right away before I touch the ground. But I did not process this as you saw me take it off of the bark initially with the spine. This hasn't been processed anymore or fluffed or dried in my pocket or anything. So let's see. Pretty nice, really nice and sharp actually. Didn't take really anything to do that. To get that poplar going. A little bit of bark. Freaking acorns dropping all beside me. Put the knife back in the sheath. Let me put that out, make sure it's safe. Let it burn, do its thing. I'm sure it looks pretty on camera. Thank you. Safety tip for fires, pour water and stir. Really make sure. Good to go for. I have the knife and the sheath on my hip, right side. You can see the handle does not come up really high. It's not going to dig in to my hip at all. And like I said, because this is about 6 inches, it can be concealed over a shirt. And I have my shirt tucked in, obviously, to show it. But I've been wearing this around town, wearing it in and out of my car, literally as an EDC, as you would, as the knife is designed. And it's worked really well. Never been like sort of, you know, pinching or getting caught on things that it's too big to wear on the hip. So in my mind, it really is a really cool EDC in a fixed blade style. And actually, the LT sent us this knife to review, so you're going to see this knife again from us, so stay tuned in the upcoming months. But again, I just really, really like the fact that this is small enough to wear on the hip as an everyday carry type knife. So even as I'm sitting down, really isn't poking in anything, even on this little awkward small camp stool I'm using. Sits here, doesn't even feel like it's there. Really, really cool, small little design for a fixed blade knife. Really, really happy with it. I'd like to thank LT again for sending this knife to us and say good job to anyone else who was involved in designing and making this knife over at LT Wright Handcrafted Knives. If you're in the market or you think this is cool, which I do, I think this is a really cool option to a folding knife. One, because it's a fixed blade, no moving parts, it's going to last longer than you. You know, this knife's still going to be very valuable even after we all perish. You know, folding knives, they just have a lot of moving parts and things that can break on them. I still use one every day, but honestly, I really like this option of having a small fixed blade on the hip. If you have any questions about this knife that I didn't cover or anything to add, any other knives that sort of fit this small fixed blade thin, you know, sort of bill, let me know. Please leave a comment. This video will be up on blackoutdoors.com. It'll be accompanied with some different type of photography, some different images that you won't see on YouTube. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video on YouTube. Do all that within the YouTube arena. Thanks for watching. This is Krik signing out with Black Outdoors. Later, turtles.